It's The Right Word Awakened, an invigorating engagement of words, spirit, mind, and self. With word stylist Emily, you can call her E-Claudette-Freeman. Reimagine your words, rewrite your power, recreate your life, renew your story, right here on the Right Word Awakened podcast. It's all part of the Right Word Awakened movement, an Emily-Claudette-Freeman vibe.
Hey everybody, this is the Right Word Awakened podcast, and I am E-Claudette-Freeman. Last episode, we started a conversation with Dr. Vicki Johnson about your soul, your story, and soul wealth. And I wrote so many notes on a piece of paper that I probably shouldn't have been writing on after I looked at it later, but that's okay. We're going to pretend like I didn't do it. So we're going to finish that conversation today. See, my mind is spinning with all of the good stuff that we talked about that I want to jump on. But first, let me reintroduce Dr. Vicki Johnson, who's a chaplain, a TEDx speaker. She's the author. And Vicki, last time we didn't talk about your book, so we definitely have to do that before I let you go today. We have to talk about your book. She is the founder of Girl Talk Unplugged and the founder of the Soul Wealth Group Incorporated and Soul Wealth Foundation. She's a graduate of Howard University, a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, an Emmy award-winning media professional. She's just all of that. So Vicki, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, how could we not talk about my books and
because it got so good.
Is the one who helped me put my literary work out in the world. So yeah, I'm so honored to be a part of the Pecan Tree Press family.
Thank you. We love having you. So the last time you just totally, blew me away with some stuff. The whole what am I feeling thing, I was like, oh, that seems real big. But then deal with your foundation. Strengthen the muscle of your emotions. Your emotions are calling you into consciousness. Make a conscious decision to live every moment in that moment. And so that's where I want to start, Vicki. After we make that, we ask ourselves, what am I feeling? And all of this stuff comes up. We still have to make a conscious decision to live our life in that moment. So what does it look like after you have this what am I feeling to then say, okay, I'm going to make a conscious decision to do what, how does that play out? And why is that important?
It plays out in that, it's an arrow. Okay, this is all good, even though it may not feel like it at some points during the process. It's all good because what it really is, they are arrows to what do you need to deal with. What do you need to deal with? And many people have arrows pointing them back to their childhood. Like, this is not about what happened at your job 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
This is about what happened 30 years ago when you were 6, when you were 3, when you were 10, when you were 14, and you had an emotional trauma, and you stopped developing emotionally. So this is a call, and this is the deeper work of soul wealth, right? First, we got to get you to acknowledge that you need to do some work. And that you can't go to church every week and shout over this and pray over this, right? And fall out over this. Can't do that. Even though that worship experience is a part of the process, that is not the remedy alone. You have to do your work. You have to stand in the mirror and say, self, you're a mess. Let's get it together, so that we can live our best life, so that we can live the highest version of ourselves. You cannot do that if your emotions are jacked up. Because if your emotions are jacked up, your relationships are jacked up. And if your relationships are jacked up, pretty much your life is jacked up.
Right.
And if your life is jacked up,
because you take your jacked up self into everything,
everywhere you go with you.
And so everything becomes jacked up, and you're looking at everybody else like, okay, it's all them. But then you have to ask yourself, who is the common denominator?
Exactly.
Who is the common denominator?
Exactly.
And once you ask Vicki, what am I feeling? And you admit, okay, I may be the one that's jacked up here. I may be the dysfunction that I'm seeing in every area of my life. What is the next thing that you must ask yourself?
Where is a safe place for me to do the work?
Now, say that again because that's important.
Place?
Yeah.
Where is a safe place for me to do this work? Is it a circle of sisters that I have? Is it a therapist? Is it a pastor? Is it a coach? Is it a mentor? Is it a book? You have to find a safe place because everybody needs a safe place. You can't do this work alone. Everybody needs a safe place.
And it may seem common sense, Vicki, but let's put the question out there. Why do you say safe place? Because those are the key words, safe place.
Because you need to be willing. You need to be willing to be vulnerable, transparent. Because in the last episode we talked about doing your work, and in order to do your work, you have to face your truth. And in order to face your truth and dig up, right? In order to dig up what's not working, you have to be vulnerable, and you have to be willing to say some things that are not easy to say, and sit in some things. When I'm working with women, I call it sitting in the lotus, because the lotus flower blooms up out of the mud. So you have to be willing to sit in the lotus. What is your lotus? What is your lotus? Were you abused as a child? Were you molested sexually? Were you raped? Did you come out of a domestic violence situation? Was your dad not there? And the beauty and the reality of walking people through this work, and this is important for me to say, is that everybody has a story.
Yes.
And everybody has a trauma. So you're not the only one. And this is how I guide people through that break. Let's go back to what caused you to stop growing and developing emotionally. What happened to you? It's not what's wrong with you. It's what happened to you that caused you to be like this. That's where we want to go. We have to go there. We have to go back to that place in order for you to move forward in a way that you can produce intangible prosperity. What is that? It's peace, love, joy, happiness, having a vision for your life, getting your dreams back. That's intangible prosperity. Relationships, laughter, feeling good. So we must go back in order to go forward. And that's a place that a lot of people don't want to go. But if you did not heal what was broken, then no matter what you do, it's always going to cause you to go backwards to that place of being wounded.
Let's do this before we finish. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back on The Right Word Awakening.
Don't you dare move. There's so much more to engage on The Right Word Awakened, an Emily-Claudette-Freeman vibe. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Right Word Awakened, an Emily-Claudette-Freeman vibe.
Take me back to the middle of your conversation right after you were talking about doing the work of the lotus, and you made the comment about it's not what's wrong with you, it's what happened to you.
So when I'm working with women, I do this process called sitting in the lotus, because the lotus flower comes up out of the mud, and so you have to sit in your stuff in order for beauty to come out of it. So it's not what's wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. The question is, what happened to you that has caused you to be this way? And, a lot of people say, well, this is just how I am. This is who I am.
Yes.
And I often say, after they say that, well, how is that working for you? Because if you can live with it, I can look at it, right? Because there is no compulsion in God. That's in the Quran. There is no force in God. You have to want to heal. So if you want to heal,
that's good.
If you want to heal, this is the way we have to go. If you're not willing to do that work, then you can stay, how's that working for you? You can stay the way you are.
Right. And so when we say stuff like that's just the way I am, that's almost like we're giving ourselves permission to stay in that place where you were talking about last episode where we live in disease.
Absolutely.
Because that's just the way I am.
Absolutely.
So, I'm perpetually sarcastic because that's just the way I am. I don't want to ask myself, what am I feeling? Because it may dig up the fact that I'm hiding some things. I'm just, consistently angry and bitter because that's just the way I am. That's the way my mom was. That's the way my aunts were. That's just how the women in my family were. And so what that says is, okay, you just admitted that you really have a clue that there's something wrong with the fact that that thing is generational, but rather than ask why you're feeling that and figure out what happened that created this, what you've chosen is to just stay in it. You've chosen to stay in the mud as opposed to blooming from it.
Exactly. And soul wealth really is about interrupting patterns, right? You have to be willing to interrupt dysfunctional patterns. Like, it was cute when you were 17, but it's not cute now that you're 57. That's not cool.
How about that?
Oh, she's just like her mom. Oh, she's just like her grandma. Oh, she get that. That was cute when you were 17. But now that you're 57 and generations of loved ones are coming behind you, do you really want to pass that on to them? Or do you want to interrupt the pattern, not just for you, but for your bloodline? Because when you interrupt the pattern, it interrupts the pattern in your bloodline.
That's powerful.
So that's where legacy comes in.
Before you finish, Vicki, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back on the Right Word Awakened podcast.
Don't you dare move. There's so much more to engage on the Right Word Awakened, an Emily-Claudette-Freeman vibe. We'll be right back.
Hey, girlfriend. So lately, you've been talking yourself out of going back to school or starting that new business. But girlfriend, it's time to move past the fear and take action. Are you looking for a little tool that'll give you that push? Go grab What a Woman's Gotta Do by Kay Richardson. You can get it on Amazon, or you can get it at clientswhosayyes.com/products. How would your life change if you take action?
Now back to the show to employ reimagined words and stories in the strategic plotting of your life journey. The Right Word Awakened.
Before we went to the break, Vicki, you made a comment about dealing with your stuff so that you're not leaving it to those behind you. And you were starting to say that it's really about legacy. And that is eye-opening because when you think of, so often when we talk about legacy and preparing an inheritance for your children's children, we think solely financial. But really, and even in a heavier sense, we can leave them a legacy of a sick soul as opposed to soul wealth. And that manifests in their lives in so many. So finish that thought for me.
This is the work of healing is an opportunity for you to shift the trajectory of what is now given to generations coming behind you. And oftentimes we resist the work of healing and doing the work because it's too painful. But the reality is you are capable of doing it. That's why it's coming up. It's coming up because you have the opportunity to heal your family. It's not just about you. It's about your family. It's about those coming behind you and those who came before you. And so doing your work really is a privilege, and you're called to be the one. Right? Look at your neighbor and say, be the one.
Be the one.
Look in the mirror and say, you be the one.
You be the one.
Why not? Why not you? Why not now?
And the one that doesn't want to heal, Vicki, would say, well, why do I have to be the one?
You don't have to. That's also the beautiful thing. You don't have to do it.
But if you choose not to do it,
like you are.
There you go. If you choose not to do it, you're making a conscious choice not to do it. And so that's like you were talking about last episode. Then that means you're making a conscious decision not to do anything about your foundation, not to do anything about what you're building on that foundation. So you're making a conscious decision to await the collapse. Am I following you correctly?
You are exactly following me correctly. You are following me correctly. And let me just say, just to shine some more light and to expand it a little further for our listeners, is when you are doing your work of soul wealth or emotional health and spiritual enlightenment and elevation and ascension and transcendence, it doesn't matter who's in the White House. It doesn't matter what's going on in your life in terms of, finances or things like that. Like, you really get to control your reality on a daily, moment-by-moment basis when you choose to do this work. That's why you want to do this work, is you realize and you come into an awareness that my life is the sole result of my choices, whether they pass the health care bill or not. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be so at peace and at one with myself that I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to drink, alkaline water, keep my body in an alkaline state. I'm going to practice my meditation. I'm going to have wonderful relationships, and I'm going to laugh every day, and I'm going to find some joy in every moment and every day. And no, that's not unrealistic. People live like this.
Yeah.
But reality TV and social media has messed us up.
Oh, my gosh, yes. It's given us such a false sense of everything.
A false sense of what is real. But listen to me. Soul wealth is possible. Soul wealth is real. And if you're listening to this podcast right now, you can have this now. All you have to do is choose it. You can choose to start this journey right now. And so that looks like, let me examine my relationships. Let me examine what in my life needs to be interrupted.
And so is that our third question? We ask, what in my life needs to be interrupted?
Yes, because it's about outcomes. It's not just about listening to another podcast. And that is my work now, is I want every encounter to produce an outcome.
Wow.
And I'm simply talking about being purposeful. That's what I'm talking about, being on purpose. I want every encounter to produce an outcome. If it's not going to produce an outcome that is a part of the legacy that I am intending to leave on this earth when I, transition from here, then it's not worth my time. And how did I get to this place? Sitting in solitude. Vicki, what are you feeling? Why are your feelings hurt? Why are you disappointed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just strengthen that muscle. I don't stay there, right? I pick up the lesson and I move on to the next.
You mentioned lesson, and that's something we kind of mentioned before briefly, and I want to go back there and make sure we fully expound on that. You were talking before about experiences being a lesson or a blessing, and talk to us a little bit about recognizing whether a situation or a challenge or an experience or an encounter was a lesson or a blessing, and what you should be looking for to get out of either.
Well, this is the call to conscious living. This is the call to conscious living, being fully present in every moment. So if I can't be fully present in a moment, I try not to be in the moment. I try to get through it or not do it. Get through it or not do it. But
I love that.
There is purpose in every moment. So if it's not blessing me, what am I here to learn? Why am I here? Why do I keep having this experience? Different people, same experience, but I'm the common denominator. What am I supposed to learn? That's the question. What do I need to learn?
And can you learn it quickly?
For me, Vicki, stop giving so much to people who have not proven they are worthy of your generosity.
Oh, have mercy, that right there. Say that again, Vicki, just for me. I don't know if anybody else needs to hear it, but say it again just for me.
Stop giving so much to people who have proven they are not worthy of your generosity. Does that mean I'm going to stop giving? No. Does that mean I'm going to change who I am? No. It means I am going to be a good steward over my generosity and over my relationships.
That's just
now
whoop,
the lesson, an extension of the lesson is, okay, so moving forward, what do those relationships look like? Relationships now look like when I'm supposed to step up my generosity is where there is reciprocity. Unless it's an assignment. Because there is a time where we are called to do and give to people who can't do anything for us. That's different.
Right. Yes.
But in relationships, now I look for reciprocity. Like, I'm not going to be the one
some people
always
would say, oh, that sounds a little hard. That sounds a little hard, Vicki.
Oh, well. Oh, well.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's true. But I think that speaks to, what you were saying. We have to be conscious in every moment. And being conscious in the moment says that I'm all right with the fact that unless, like you said, unless it's a situation of health or in a situation where someone cannot be reciprocal with me, that I have to be in a place where when I'm giving or I'm being generous with whatever it is, that you're coming to the table with something as well. We have to be able to produce hopefully a positive and a powerful outcome for each other, right? So
absolutely.
So we ask ourselves, what am I feeling? Where is a safe place for me to deal with my stuff? What in my life needs to be interrupted? What in my life needs to be interrupted? And give us one more question, Vicki, that you think we absolutely must ask.
What do I want?
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah.
What
do I want? What do I want my life now to look like now that I'm doing the work? And I have one more after that.
And what do I want is not just the easy stuff. It's not, I want a Mercedes. I want a 6-bedroom house. It's deeper than that. But what do I want is deeper than that. I mean, it can include that, but it's deeper than that.
Yes.
Okay, so you said there's one more. Give us the one more.
What do I get to create?
I think those two are even, more intimidating than what am I feeling.
But it's the opportunity of soul wealth. Isn't that something? You get to create the life you want. That's the end result. What do you want? And when you answer that, wow. So what do I get to create to have what I want? So when you're working with people, Vicki, on soul wealth, and you get to these two questions, what kind of reactions do you get? Excitement. I get ahas. Wow. I never knew I was that powerful. You know why? Because they were looking for other people to give to them what they were really born to create. So stop looking for other people to give to you what you were born to create. So what you were born to create has been sitting there waiting for you to come back to it. Absolutely, and wake up. That gives a whole new meaning to stay woke. Whole new meaning right there. Whole new meaning. Awesome. Yeah. So before we wrap up, Vicki, I want you to do two things for me. I want you to give some closing comments on this whole understanding of your soul, your story, and the importance of soul wealth. And then I want you to tell us about your books and where people can find them. So my closing comment is two words. It's two words, but it has a whole lot of meaning behind it, and I will allow the listeners to fill in what is necessary. And the two words are be willing. Be willing. Be willing. Open your heart, open your mind, open your hand. Be willing. And my amazing books, Addicted to Counterfeit Love and Vicky-isms, they're both available through my website, vickyjohnson.com, where you can get your autographed copies. And other than that, I'm working on my next book, which is called Soul Wealth. Soul Wealth, Finding Abundance, Compassion, and Authenticity in the Midst of Chaos. And so I'm looking forward to releasing that next book.
As well as I am. So, yes. Vicki, tell people where they can connect with you online, and because if you can connect with Vicki via social media, you get all kind of wonderful soul wealth nuggets. That, you read them sometimes. Yeah, you read them sometimes. And I have a friend that on Facebook, and I tell her all the time, I have to remember not to read your stuff in public because she's always posting outrageous stuff, and I laugh out loud in public, and people look at me like I'm crazy. But with you, I have to be careful not to read your stuff in public because I read something you posted like a couple of weeks ago, and I was walking through the mall, and I just kind of had to find a seat and sit down because I just had to sit for a minute. I was just like, okay, that's just, yeah. So you get those kind of soul wealth moments. Tell people how they can connect with you online.
Yeah, sure. Well, Twitter and Instagram, I'm at All Things Vicky, and Vicky is Vikki. I'm on Facebook at Elder Vicky Johnson. And LinkedIn, I think I'm Dr. Vicky Johnson there, but all of these links are on my website at vickyjohnson.com. And again, it's Vikki. Johnson.com.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vicki Johnson, busy lady, for joining us. I appreciate it. This soul wealth conversation has been absolutely a wonderful cup of hot tea to my bones, and I just love the fact that you took the time to talk with us on the Right Word Awakened podcast, and we're going to have you back some other time. I just want you to know that. So,
I would love to come back. Would love to.
Thank you so much, Dr. Johnson. Listen, guys, as always, when we wrap up, I'd like to do three things because I never want this podcast to just be something you listen to. I want you to walk away from it and actually do something. So your affirmation for this conversation, your soul, your story, soul wealth, is today I choose to ask in faith, what am I feeling? Today I choose to ask in faith, what am I feeling? And your intention is, I intend to be wealthy in my soul and prosperous in my life, and I make a conscious choice to do so. Now, your move, I'm going to switch up a little bit because last episode, Vicki said, do your work. This episode, she said, be willing. So here's your move thing. Be willing and do the work. Schedule a time to sit still and meditate and ask yourself the questions that she gave us. What am I feeling? Where's a safe place for me to deal with what I'm feeling? What in my life needs to be interrupted? What do I want? And what do I now get to create? You can absolutely do this. If you need to connect with us, it's the Right Word Awakened at claudette-literary.com. The website for Dr. Vicki Johnson is www.vicki.johnson.com. We'll talk to you next time on the Right Word Awakened podcast. I'm Claudette Freeman.
You've been listening to The Right Word Awakened, an invigorating engagement of words, spirit, mind, and self with word stylist Emily. You can call her Claudette-Freeman. Want more information? Visit www.claudette-literary.com. For sponsor, guest, and other show information, email rightwordawakened@claudette-literary.com. Until next time, tell your words to wake up.